All right, everybody. It's time to do something we haven't done in quite some time. Talk some wrestling, because a lot has happened since the last time we sat down and had a discussion. Um, the Royal Rumble's coming up. The Road to WrestleMania is firing up. I could not be more excited for the Royal Rumble. There's so much positive things going on in WWE right now around that event, around the company in general. Um, So let's start off with the Rock, Roman, Cody situation. Would I love to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns? Of course I would. It will be box office. It's The Rock. It's The Rock is always going to draw money for the company anytime he comes back. He's The Rock. He's the biggest or one of the biggest celebrities in the world. Of course, I want to see that match. But I don't think it needs to be for the title and shouldn't be for the title because it being for the title pretty much makes that match a foregone conclusion as far as who is going to win said match because there's no way they're putting the title on The Rock because, quite frankly, they're lucky to get one match out of him with all of his Hollywood commitments and contracts and things of that nature. That being said, in my opinion, that match needs to happen without the title being involved, and it really shouldn't be about. To me, it can't just be about the head of the table because, um, quite frankly, from a bloodline standpoint, we all know that The Rock is the grandson of the High Chief anyway. So if anybody has a claim to being the head of the table, it's The Rock. So let's get that out of the equation. The Rock's daughter is signed with WWE. Ava Rain in NXT, for anybody that doesn't know. Um, where I would go with the storyline, and I have said it before, I would use that conversation back on during New Year's Eve, during the episode, the packed episode of NXT from a few weeks back, um, where you could see that Ava was having a conversation with Paul Heyman, and I would take that and run with it and have Ava come up, join the bloodline in some way, shape, or form, and there's your catalyst for The Rock. The catalyst for The Rock should be okay, I've sat back for years and watched you claim to be the head of the table, claim to be this, claim to be that to our family, and I've let it go. But now you're affecting my direct bloodline, you're affecting my daughter, you're poisoning her head, whatever terminology you want to use, and have The Rock fighting for his daughter, so to speak. And you could even have Ava reject her father at first, siding with Roman right up until the match. And maybe Ava realizes at the last minute her dad was right. She turns on Roman, helps her father beat um, beat Roman. This is another reason why I say it shouldn't be for the title because then it opens up more possibilities for it not to be a foregone conclusion. Possibly The Rock can win. Um, but if you go back to 2 weeks ago on Raw when it was Raw Day 1, the interaction he had with Jinder. First off, The Rock is in phenomenal shape. You're never going to hear me say The Rock is not in good shape. He is um, almost too built to a point. Not seriously. Um, with that said, he did one people's elbow and was blown up in that ring. He was huffing, he was puffing, um, and you can ask any serious wrestling fan. It's a term you hear all the time. There's a big difference between being in shape and being in ring shape. And The Rock being blown up after doing one people's elbow, how in the world right now could he be expected to go 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe even a half hour with Roman Reigns? He can. And yes, I know there's time till WrestleMania. There's time, but I just don't see him getting himself in ring shape before WrestleMania because the man's a busy man. He's got a lot of different things going on. So it's not like he can be training in a ring every single day. And I just don't know. My fear is it's almost like that relationship you've always wanted with someone you've always wanted to be with. You know, you want it, you want it, you want it. You finally get it, and it doesn't measure up to expectations. And that's what I honestly see The Rock and Roman becoming. Is it's not going to measure up to expectations, and people are going to be disappointed. Whereas you have a guy like Cody, who clearly wants to be the face of your company. I feel like is the face of your company. Is on Raw every week, putting on quality matches. And while he does win the overwhelming majority of his matches, he's still putting over his opponents because he's not going out of his way to make his opponents look bad. He's putting over their offense. He is everything you want in the figurehead of a company. A guy who, will make sure an entire classroom full of kids makes it to WrestleMania. A guy who points to a sign in the crowd and that is asking him to be his best man and says, "Yes, I'll be your best man." You know, that one was a little out there and crazy, and I can't wait to see how he pulls that off logistically. Uh, if he does, I'm sure he will. He doesn't strike me as the kind of person that would say that and then not do it, but I can't wait to. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of WWE camera documenting that if it happens, and that'll be cool to watch. But he is everything you want. He is the classic babyface, and we haven't had that kind of classic white meat babyface since the 80s. And it's refreshing to see people latching onto him as just what he is. He's a babyface. That there's no lines blurred. He's not a babyface that acts like a heel or has to beat up the boss or, you know, tell the boss off. He's just a guy chasing a dream who believes in the business, loves the business, and loves the fans. And it's a beautiful sight to see. I love Cody. I love what Cody's doing for this um, company right now. And I gotta say, if you're enjoying this edition of what I call the Off the Top Rope podcast, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, leave your comments. We are on that road to 1,000 subscribers. I think at the time of this recording, I'm at 804, so I have 196 to go to get to 1,000. Can't do it without you guys. Very much appreciate it. So that takes care of that. And I want to talk a little bit about Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is one of the probably most compelling characters on WWE television right now. He is a heel that is playing the old woe is me kind of character, and and he's doing it in such a way where it doesn't come across whiny. He's speaking a lot of truth, and you got to respect that. And I've said it on social media. I've said it countless times. Drew McIntyre's not leaving WWE. WWE as a company, I refuse to believe WWE as a company would invest this kind of time, this kind of screen time, in a guy that had one foot out the door. I just don't see the company doing that. That would make no sense. Um, but I love what Drew's doing. I could definitely see Drew, depending on what goes on with Seth Rollins after the whole, is he injured? How injured is he after Monday Night Raw? Depending on where that goes, I could see Drew McIntyre. Let's say a guy like a CM Punk does beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania and does become the world champion. Drew McIntyre would be a good, strong, natural first feud for CM Punk. And I think that match, that feud would draw, especially especially when you have a WWE champion in Roman Reigns that, quite frankly, is never there. I mean, he's not advertised for your international show in Australia. As of this recording, he's not advertised for Backlash in France. Like, this isn't like Chicago or Boston or Baltimore or a market that this company goes to often. These are international shows that these international shows, they don't see the WWE as often as we do in the States live. So for your number one guy to not be there is kind of a slap in the face to the fans, in my opinion. Now, does the WWE need him there? No, because the WWE is firing on all cylinders and they have plenty of star power that can make up for him not being there. Should he be there as the guy that they propped up as the figurehead of the company? 100% he should be there. He should be there. He should. I'm not saying he has to wrestle a match. He should be on the show in some way, shape, or form, either cutting a promo to further a storyline, in a match. Let these international crowds see the guy that the company has propped up as their number one star. That's my honest opinion on it. Um, I I've never been a guy that says the champion's got to be on the show every week. Going all the way back to when Raw first started and Yokozuna, Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart were not on Raw every week. They don't have to be on the show every week. But being gone for weeks, months at a time, is not good for the fan base or the company. Um, I dare say, Logan Paul has been around more as the U.S. champion, hasn't defended it, but he's certainly just as busy, if not busier, than Roman Reigns. But he still finds time to show up on SmackDown. Um, he was there on the first SmackDown of the year. He wasn't there. Um, he wasn't there last week, but he's advertised and going to be there for the KO show this Friday. Um, you got to be there for the fans. When you're one of the figureheads of the company, you just have to. And but it's sort of the way they're using CM Punk right now is a perfect example. He doesn't have to be on Raw every week. He can be on Raw every other week, maybe even once a month, because the anticipation of him being there is going to help pop a rating. But you can't disappear for weeks at a time. And I'm not blaming Roman, because Roman didn't put himself in this situation. I'm not blaming the company necessarily. It's To me, when you are the figurehead of the company, or at least positioned to be, you need to be there more. Um, let's see. I'm very excited for the Royal Rumble. I know there are some obvious choices for the winner of both the men and women, but I could still rattle off 5 or 6 names on both sides that I could legitimately see winning the match. I know the obvious answer for the women is Becky Lynch. God, I hope that doesn't happen, and if it does, I hope Rhea crushes her at WrestleMania. That's what needs to happen to further Rhea's ascent, because I think Rhea has become bigger than the women's division. I think she is just as big a star, if not a bigger star, than um, Becky Lynch. And I think that needs to be shown and advertised and felt. Um, because I could argue, even with Cody and Seth on Raw, that um, she feels like the biggest deal on Raw. Not to diminish Seth and Cody, or even Drew, or even CM Punk. There's something to be said for a talent that can make the most use of the screen time they're given, whether it's in a wrestling match, promo, whether I say this about Selena Vega all the time. One of the most underutilized talents in all the company, because she makes you feel it every single time she's out there. Whether it's her facial expressions, her emotions, her character, her you feel she makes you feel everything she does, whether she's out there for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, or 50 minutes. Uh, she makes the best use of every single moment she's in out there, and in front of that camera. And that is what every talent should be doing. And on the men's side, obviously Cody is a choice to win the Rumble. Definitely wouldn't mind seeing that. CM Punk is a choice to win the Rumble. Drew's a choice to win the Rumble. Um, any one of the three people that loses in that fatal 4-way could end up in the Royal Rumble, and you could make a case for any one of the four of them. Right now, and I'm being a little facetious with this, you could make an argument for R-Truth to win the Royal Rumble, because he's a top merch seller. He's funny as hell. Um, some of the best, most entertaining TV on WWE right now is when R-Truth is on my TV screen. Um, who knew Tom and Nick Mysterio would become such a popular thing? But it's because R-Truth has fully embraced his role, and he's very good at the comedy stick. And here's the thing: if he could go serious tomorrow and become one of the top heels and best wrestlers in that company, if he had to. But I kind of look at him as the Robin Williams of professional wrestling. Robin Williams could always do serious, but he knew where his niche was. You know, and that's what I think of R-Truth. He is the Robin Williams of professional wrestling, and I say that with all the love and respect in the world to both Robin Williams and to R-Truth. I hope that's taken as the compliment it's meant as. Um, all right, guys, I've been rambling on here for just about 20 minutes. I am going to do these more consistently. Sorry I have neglected these. Again, please like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.